Welcome to pre-industrial sports. Most of the population of Britain lived in rural areas. Sport did not cross class barriers in terms of participation and spectating. Society was split into three specific groups. The nobility are commonly higher class people such as landlords that earn a higher income. Middle class people such as merchants and doctors are quite rich but not as poor as the peasants who are known as being working class and mainly poorer than everyone else, such as slaves and servants. Sports were played for two reasons. There were functional reasons such as to prepare men to defend their country in war, archery and hunting for the nobility. There were also cultural reasons such as Christianity became more widespread across the world. Pagan festivals were replaced by holidays, known as holidays. Holidays included Easter, Shrove Tuesday and Ash Wednesday. These would involve sports such as folk football, wrestling, skittles and bowls. Tudor and Stuart periods, 1485 to 1741. This period was also known as the Renaissance. London was the only recognised city that took part in sports during this period. 10% of people that took part in these sports lived in towns, the rest lived in inner city. The main source of income was farming in this period. Society started becoming more commercial during this period as well.
The Industrial Revolution and how it affected sport. The Industrial Revolution resulted in industrialisation. This is the process in which a society transformed itself from an agricultural society into one based on manufacturing goods and services. Individual manual labour was often replaced by mechanised mass production. This mainly took part in cities as they got bigger and more populated due to factories being built. This allowed urbanisation, which was when a lot of people lived in the countryside, moved into the towns and cities, as it were the best wages and most money was available. This resulted in less farming in the countryside and the cities growing larger. Also, as there were more people in cities, it became overcrowded and more people were starting to attend and play new sports like modern day football. Public schools were also getting bigger and better as these were more in the cities and the countryside, and as more people were living in the cities, more people were attending. And this is where sports such as football were first invented. And this made it so that it got more popular as different universities played each other at the same sport that they might have invented. For example, if one university's invented football and one's invented rugby, they might play each other at each other's game, and then that would result in the different universities learning a different sport and taking it back to their universities, spreading it across the country. Rational recreation is when there was the middle class that spent most of the time in the pubs when they were not working or at home. Football was traditionally played at a Saturday at 3 o'clock. This was because middle class people would work on a Saturday morning and then go to the pub for around 2 hours and then go to watch the football.
Right, so we'll have a look at organisations and the national governing bodies of football. So the first one is the FA. The FA is the world's oldest national governing body, and it is responsible for all aspects of football, professional and amateur in England. The FA was founded in 1863 and also is a member of FIFA and UEFA. Football was played for centuries before the creation of any governing bodies, but it had no standardised rules, and different variations of the game were played in different areas throughout the country, so because of this, it was difficult for teams to get used to playing varying rules so they could play each other. So because of this led to the creation of the Football Association, which introduced formalised rules so that they could get to play each other with no difficulty. The FA are also responsible for the creation of the FA Cup, which is the oldest cup competition in association football in the world, and the FA own and are based at Wembley Stadium in London. And the second national governing body is FIFA. FIFA, the Federation Internationale de Football Association, is a world governing body of association football. It was founded in 1904 and is based in Zurich, Switzerland. With an increase in the number of international fixtures in the early 20th century, it became evident that a world governing body was required. as this and came in 1904 in the form of FIFA. The founding members were Belgium, Denmark, France, Holland, Spain, Sweden and Switzerland. One of the main responsibilities of FIFA is the World Cup. This is the World Football Showpiece, what is held every 4 years. And the final governing body is UEFA. The Union of European Football Associations is the administrative body for association football in Europe. It was formed in 1954 and is based in Nyon, Switzerland. It is made up of 53 association members. UEFA is by far the biggest of the confederations of FIFA, particularly in terms of money and influence. UEFA also created the biggest club competition in the world called UEFA Champions League in 1955, and it also created the UEFA Cup, now known as the Europa League, in 1971. So now we're going to move on to the structure and development of football. Start off with structure. And at the top of it is a single division called the Premier League, containing 20 clubs. Below the Premier League is the Football League, which is divided into 3 divisions of 24 clubs each. And then you've got the Championship League 1 and League 2. Top of non-league football is a National League of 24 clubs. This is the lowest level with a single National League. There are 2 divisions covering the National League North and the South National League South, what both have 22 clubs each. The next down are 3 regional leagues called the Northern Premier League, Southern Football League and the Isthmian League, which all have 24 teams, and below these are not the Northern Premier League and Southern Football League, each have 2 parallel divisions of 22 teams. Then the final level, level 9, contains the top divisions of a large group of 14 sub-regional leagues. Then you've got top is level 1 in Premier League, and it all works the way down to level 9, what's the final level, which is your sub-regional leagues. Now we'll move on to the development of football over the years. So from 1200 to 1800s, football's roots in England has been found in medieval football. These games were violent and largely ruleless, and because they were often banned, but throughout the 17th century football continued to be popular. From the 1800s to the 1870s, football continued to be played and was getting more popular as there were starting to be advertisements in newspapers, and more factory workers were getting interested to play it. Schools were starting to work with each other to agree on rules so that they could play each other. In 1863, rules of the Football Association provided first reference in English language to the verb to pass a ball, and the offside rule began to come into place. And from the 70s to the 1888, team play and passing strategies were starting to evolve. And in 1871, the FA Cup was created and international matches started to take place, but this period in English football was dominated by conflict between those who supported professionalism and those who wanted the game to remain amateur. From 1888 to 1915, new professionals needed more regular competitive football in which they could compete, so this led to the creation of the Football League in 1891. The football net was invented then in 92, and then there was a Division 2 that was added. From 1919 to 1939, the Football League expanded further, gaining a new 3rd division. Also, in 1923, Wembley Stadium opened. And from 1945 to 61, English football recovered in the years following the end of World War II, and most clubs had closed down for a period. And from 1963 to 1971, this time there was the introduction of the League Cup and England winning the World Cup, and also saw the first English successes in European club football. From 1972 to 1985, the 1970s was an odd decade in English football, with the national team disappointing but English clubs enjoying great success in European competitions. The dominant team in this period was Liverpool, winning many league titles and collecting 3 European Cups and many FA and League Cups. And so from 1986 and 1991, during the 70s and 80s, hooliganism had begun to haunt English football. The Hazel disaster played a big part of this, what led to English teams being banned from European competition for 5 years, and attendance has also suffered throughout the leagues. From 1992 to 2001, the FA Premier League was formed and clubs started to increase their income and exposure. English football grew wealthier, more popular than ever, with clubs being able to spend lots more on transfer fees and wages. And from 2003 to the present time, money started to play an even bigger part in this time, as teams such as Chelsea and Manchester City gained new owners who were willing to spend lots more than other clubs in the league, and more money was being involved all around the league, and better TV money for the league and clubs. And also around Europe, clubs were willing to spend as much as it took to get the players that they wanted, especially in Spain with transfers of Gareth Bale, Cristiano Ronaldo, Luis Suarez, Neymar and James Rodriguez. Money also played a part in the new TV deals with companies such as Sky Sports and BT Sport.
Right, welcome to modern sport in football. Right, so there's technology, right? Various types of technology have been introduced into modern sport. Some examples are goal line technology, which uses cameras placed upon the goal to show whether the ball has gone fully over the line. The review of the play is sent to the referee's watch, and then it's decided whether to give a goal or not. The margins can be millimetres, centimetres or metres. Another part of the technology that has been introduced into sport is the use of headsets between referees and officials. This allows them to transfer information that has been seen on and off the pitch to each other to make the game more efficient and more fair. Another part of technology that has been brought in is the use of instant replays. It allows officials to make the game codified and fair so that no one breaks the rules. Moving on to structure of the game in modern day football, football is now structured into thousands of various leagues created by governing bodies. Each country or areas within the country have a governing body, which is a committee which organises fixtures, breaks, money and teams. The structure in modern day football is so advanced that the organisation of the leagues can be created within a day. The structure allows teams to move in between leagues, if good or bad enough, which allows the game to run fairly. The structure also means that each game is provided with a qualified referee, which allows the game to be played under rules created by the governing body. Moving on to commercialisation in football, the commercialisation of football in the modern era has ushered in drastic changes to the game, transforming what initially was a game played between gentlemen into a multi-billion-dollar industry. Commercialisation of football, simply put, reduces competition. In each of Europe's top leagues, one can realistically only expect 2 or 3 teams to challenge for the title. Other clubs do not have the resources to compete with these elite teams because the biggest sponsors pay the most money to the winning teams. This, coupled with the income from TV sponsorship deals and European football, created a vicious cycle in which top clubs use their extensive resources to bring in fresh talent, thereby greatly reducing the threat of smaller clubs, reducing the threat of smaller clubs taking over their high pedestal of income. Effectively, a vast gulfing class is created between these so-called European clubs and the rest, which leads to doubts about the future of the game. That is modern day sport. That's it.
Now we are going to talk about mob football. Mob football was 2 villagers coming together and trying to get a football from one side of a village to the other side. The winner was when somebody got the ball to the other side. There was no rules, and the only rule was no murder. This was so unorganised because there was no referee in mob football, so anything could happen. At the end of the mob football day, it ended with lots of injuries, and it was very dangerous. And it happened every bank holiday as a tradition.